How's my voice?
Your voice is rich and beautiful
Yes.
and booming.
Yes.
And you should get into MCing.
I should get into MCing. Yeah. Someday. It's the face.
It's the face for, he's got that face for radio.
If radio did MCing, I'd be golden. I would have started years ago. Yeah.
Here we are for another edition of Boast About It. I'm here with Bill Buckingham. Bill, welcome.
James, pleasure for you to have me. Pleasure to be here.
This is the second time I'm interviewing someone with their own podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was the first? Sean Choi?
Yes.
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 Good guy.
Awesome guy.
Before we go anywhere, give yourself a plug.
So Squash Radio, part of the Squash Podcast Network, which Sean Choi, the Rally Report, and Jackson Bragman's Squash University are also part of. So we are all under one umbrella, selling our podcast to the world.
Oh.
So I'm probably your least prolific guest, I would say. I'm not sure why I got invited on this, but I appreciate it.
No. There are several reasons why you've got. I mean, first of all, I think your career came up sort of in three parts.
Mm-hmm.
But you were with US Squash for a long time.
18 years.
18 years.
Yes.
And just so everyone knows, before that you were at.
I was the sports marketing director for the region of New Haven, Connecticut.
And before that?
I was in the hotel business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how about that?
You had this sort of three acts to your career, of which
right.
squash is the strong closing act.
Yes,
High five.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I was mediocre at everything. So each time I reached my level of mediocrity, I guess, is that the term? I hit the ceiling on all of them and moved on to the next. In squash, it seems the mediocrity level is pretty high, so I could keep going.
But you were running marketing at Squash?
At US Squash, I started out in 2007, and there were only three of us there. Kevin Klipstein, who was the CEO at the time, Connor O'Malley, who you may or may not know, and myself. Yep. So it was a small group. There were three of us in the New York office in 2007.
I just want to re-emphasize that. US Squash had 3 employees.
Right. Basically, it was Connor and myself running the show with, I think the first summer we had 6 interns.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Hill, who is the owner of the New York Knights, one of her best friends, Sarah Buxbaum, was one of our first interns. She's like a nuclear physicist right now. So our interns have gone on to great things, while Connor and I have not.
Oh, you are too modest. So, we had Kevin on here, and we're going to have Molly on here.
Oh, great.
Those are the past CEO and the future
Sure.
CEO of US Squash. But talk to us from your perspective about the things that happen at US Squash from going from 3 people. I mean, it didn't ever grow to hundreds, but
no.
But US Squash changed its complexion completely.
Sure. I think as we started to grow in New York, we had we had some great board chairs, and one of our best board chairs was a gentleman named Peter LaSousa.
Oh, he was great.
And I'm sure you know him. His son Timmy is the coach at Conn College. So Peter had great vision, and Peter knew that the issue at US Squash, and I felt it when I first got there, and I didn't know, of course, when I would walk into a squash club in New York or in Philadelphia or wherever in the country that I was sent for whatever reason, US Squash was not looked upon favorably, to say the least, back then, like 2007, 2008. Unaware, you'd walk in and you'd get glares. The pro would kind of treat you a little bit poorly. Oh, you're from US Squash, a little standoffish. And Peter LaSousa, rightly so, told us the way to get the squash community to embrace you is to embrace the pros. The pros are the people growing the game. US Squash is not growing the game. The people on the ground are. You need to get that community. You need to embrace them. And I came from the service industry. I knew what it meant to,
you were literally in hospitality.
I was in hospitality, so I knew what that meant. And that really, what that meant, honestly, it wasn't pretty simple. It just meant responsiveness. Yeah. They had a problem. Even if you couldn't solve it, at least they heard from you and you responded to them. And the tide changed fairly quickly from 2007 to till we got to 10, 11, 12. I felt the change. Like, I would probably wear my US Squash gear into a club, and people were like, "Oh, Bill, Bill, thanks for getting back to me. That problem got solved. Thanks for doing this." Whatever. You kind of felt that it was a palpable change. So, and it happened fairly quickly. But I give Peter LaSousa all the credit. He knew the problem. He identified the problem, and for a long time, we solved the problem.
And you've left your mark permanently on US Squash, because you named a few things. That's right.
Oh, yeah. So mediocrity is my middle name. But what I was good at was naming things. Yeah. So like Club Locker.
Yeah.
I named Club Locker.
Congratulations. So, now a newly spun out venture-backed entity.
The residual checks are like building my ski lodge up in Vermont. So thank you.
Excellent.
Keep sending those residual checks. Yeah. Every magazine cover title I came up with, every tagline I came up with, Play Squashed, which is an old one I came up with. So you name it, I think pretty much any kind of title of any program that US Squash did, I came up with the title. Zucker, occasionally when Kevin was feeling benevolent, he would say, if we could come up with a name for this program, the person who comes up with the name would get a $50 gift card, like a MasterCard gift card or an American Express gift card. So I probably, during my 18 years at US Squash, probably won a couple $100 worth of gift cards when he was feeling benevolent. Yes. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
One of the other things which you have done, which I'm jealous of, is you played squash with Wolverine.
yes. That was my I think 15 minutes of fame.
Everyone deserves it.
Everyone deserves it, and I'm happy to tell you the genesis of all that if you'd
Please,
like me to.
tell
So
me.
I used to be in the office all the time. I'd answer the phone. Thank you for calling US Squash. How could I help you? And whether it was for someone else or I could help them. So one day, I used to always get calls from people saying, "Hey, I live in New York, and either I belong to a club or there's a squash court in my building, which is pretty much New York centric only for the most part, right? But I have nobody to play with." And me, I lived in New York, just to let you know. My wife and I had a place in Connecticut, but we had a small apartment here. So I was here alone during the week. And I was 40-something years old, late 40s. Not like I'm going to go out to clubs and bars and things like that. I really didn't have a lot to do in the evening. So I would always say, sure, I'd be happy to play with you. So I played at a lot of private courts in different buildings in New York, played at a lot of clubs with people who didn't have a place to someone to play with. Mediocre club player, as your cameraman Mike Pepper will attest to.
I think we are all proud to say that we're about the same.
I think James is better than all of us we ever were.
No, I'm not. We're all
At my
about
peak,
the
could
same.
I have beaten him? Really? Wow. All right. You weren't that good then.
I'm not that good.
You're not that good.
I started playing when I was 39. I'm not that good.
So either way, one day I got a call from a guy who said, "Hey, my client wants to play squash in New York. I've called the University Club and the Harvard Club, and they both say he can't play because he's not a member and he doesn't know a member." And I was like, yeah, that's true. At the time, and still am, I know Richard Chin very well, and Richard always used to give me a court.
Yeah.
And I'd
Richard's
call.
fantastic.
Fantastic. I'd say, Richard, me and my buddy want to play, and it's usually early in the morning. He said, yeah, I have a court for you, Bill. Just go to the.
Richard, we got to get you on this.
Yeah, get on the podcast, Richard. I said, you know what? I said, yeah, I'd be happy to call Richard Chin and see. So I called Richard and I said, hey, Richard, a guy just called me and said he was trying to get his client to Harvard Club. Yeah, he called us too. Unfortunately, we can't do it. He doesn't know a member. We really don't want that kind of thing happening here. It's different if it's just you and your friend and stuff. But and I still didn't kind of put two and two together who he was talking about. And Richard didn't tell me who. So I always called my second call was always to Eddie Kapoor. From Equinox. And Eddie always got me a court whenever I needed it for anything. If I had somebody coming in from out of town, so I called Eddie up, said, "Look, some guy wants to play squash, 7 o'clock in the morning next Thursday. Any chance I could get a court?" Of course, no problem at all. Come in, we'll leave your names. What are the names? I said, I'll find out. Call the guy back. All good. Play at the Equinox Club, Midtown. I said, what's your client's name? And he said, Hugh Jackman. Now, to be honest, I didn't really know who Hugh Jackman.
No way!
I know the name. I don't know what Wolverine. I've never seen a Wolverine thing. I've
No way!
I've never seen Star Wars.
So
I'm of that age.
So wait a minute. Someone just said you were playing squash with Hugh Jackman and you didn't know.
I knew he was here's what I thought he was, a Broadway star. Because I had seen him in The Man from Oz, my wife and I, years earlier when he played Judy Garland's ex-husband, or whatever that show was about. So I knew he was that. I didn't know Wolverine or any of that stuff. So I was like, yeah, and I Googled him afterwards and saw the Wolverine, but I never watched that stuff, so it didn't really mean much to me. Still, cool, right? I mean, Hugh Jackman.
Well, he's cool because he plays squash.
Cool because he played squash. So fast forward, that Thursday morning or whatever it was, I called him out. I said, what name should I leave? He goes, leave the name. It's fine. We're all good. Left the name of the thing. Met him at Equinox. Played him. Really cool. Got our picture taken. It was like the day before the Super Bowl or something that was happening in New York. And I was like, that was fun. Get on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. His manager called me and said, Hugh really liked that. Could you guys exchange phone numbers and set up times to play? And I was like, for sure. Sure. It was fun. He sang in the shower. So we showered together. The Equinox showers, you're kind of like separated. So we were two showers separated.
We understand you were separated. Sure you were.
Surely separated.
Sure you were.
But Hugh actually sang in the shower the first time we played. And I thought that was the coolest part of it because he sang really well. Either way, had a good old time. So going forward, we set up a bunch of times to play. We probably played maybe total of 10 times together, I would say. That's just a guess. We probably set up 20 some odd times to play. He would cancel. It got to the point where it was no fun anymore because I would get the court. And Eddie would nice to get the court, 6 a.m. in the morning. I'd get to the Equinox. I'd be warmed up, waiting for him. Phone would ring. Oh, I can't make it. He canceled so many times on me. And at that point, I was like, and then he'd play.
Then we're done.
Then he'd play, and then it was just like, you know what? it's not like I broke up with him and said, look, find somebody else to play. It was more like I stopped emailing him. I stopped.
Sorry, headlines,
Bill broke up with you.
Bill broke up with
Yeah,
you.
it was more of a pain. It was cool while it lasted. And fun fact, we have the most liked squash photo on Instagram. It has over a million some odd likes, and 3 of them are from my fans, and the rest are from his. The bad part about it was the internet's a bad place. It's a nasty place, as I well know, because I'm pretty nasty on it sometimes. When he posted his picture on his Instagram, I just got shelled with like, who is that guy? He's ugly. Know who they think I look like? Who's the BBC guy? The guy who does the car show used to do the car show on BBC.
Oh, Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes, people said I look like Jeremy Clarkson, and of course I had to Google that, and not a favorable thing, right? So
I'm trying to see it. I mean,
if you look from a certain angle, every once in a while in the mirror, I'll see it in the morning. I'll say, "Fuck, Jeremy Clark." Could you swear on this?
yes, you can do whatever you want.
I'd say Jeremy Clarkson. So just to, I know it's a long story, but just to put a wrap around that story. So fast forward, my wife and I are in London maybe 2 years later, and I still have never seen Jeremy Clarkson on the show or anything. I've just seen him pictures, and we're walking the streets of London, and there's a pack of paparazzi following whomever, and it's a big pack, and they're on mini bikes and mopeds, and one of the moped guys zips over by where we're walking and throws his moped against the thing, and I said, hey, who are you following? He goes, Jeremy Clarkson, from whatever that show is.
Yeah,
I forget the name
Top
of the
Gear.
Top Gear. And I said, really? I said, people think I look like him. And the guy looks at me and goes, fuck, you look just like him. And that kind of was the first full circle of my Jeremy Clarkson. So that was my Hugh Jackman story. Every once in a while, I'll email him. He was nice enough. He gave me a huge donation when I ran the New York Marathon, because I ran for the Garden of Dreams, which was one of his projects also. So he gave me a huge donation for that. So I still email him
So he's a
every
good
once.
guy.
Seems like a decent
And
guy.
I can understand how, with his life.
Yes. Yeah. You mean he didn't live a boring
Stuff happens.
life, living in a tiny studio apartment in New York, but like myself, looking for things to do in the morning? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so.
All right. So maybe I shouldn't be so hard on him. But you do owe me $60 in court fees, Hugh. So if you see this, send me a check. So that's it. This interview over now?
That's it. Yeah.
Cut.
Maybe talk about some squash.
Squash.
That was squash. We
That
were
was
talking
squash
about
related,
squash.
dude.
What are you talking about? Thanks, Michael Pepper.
Yes.
We're gonna have to mic you up.
Have you ever been on this
You're
show?
gonna have to. No,
Oh.
we're gonna have to make him like
Right.
like the straight man on the
Yes.
Tonight Show and
Yes.
all these things. You're gonna have to mic him
seat
up.
over
Have
here
the
off
seat
the-
over there after the.
Well, all the podcasts and all that, the engineers now are so part of the show, right? Like
Yeah.
they talk
We're
and
gonna
stuff
have
like
to
that.
mic you
Yeah.
up.
If he was a little more interesting, it'd be awesome.
So
Yes. Where were we?
we were at the magnificent things you did at US Squash.
Yes.
Including pick up the phone.
Yes, I picked up the
and
phone.
meet interesting people.
Yes, exactly.
You've become an MC
Yes.
for squash. How did that happen?
Years ago, I think it was probably the 2011 U.S. Open, maybe 2012. It was at Drexel, and there was downstairs courts at Drexel, 2 recreational courts, and that's where back in the day when there were qualifiers for PSA events, they'd have the qualifiers, and then they'd have the first 2 rounds there because only so many rounds could be played on the glass court with the platinum events. So the first year that happened, we had hired someone. He volunteered, or we were paying him to go down and kind of monitor those courts. And for some reason, Nicole David played down there. She was the #1 women's player in the world, by far the most famous squash player in the world at the time, for sure.
yeah.
But as you know,
One of my favorite.
one of our favorites. But obviously, women always, before they started equal prize money, always got the short shrift in squash, and they kind of still do. They still place first, and when they should be playing second, because they're so much more exciting than the men at this point. But either way, Nicole was down there. And it was mayhem down there because the guy who was hired to do this was a little lackadaisical, and he didn't set up the chairs and the waters and didn't do the things he was supposed to do. So basically, Nicole David was playing down in this court, and it was mayhem down there, people walking in front of the court, no real control of it. And our CEO called us aside. He reamed this guy out in front of all of us. And this guy was either volunteering or just got hired on. He's a pretty well-known person in squash. And he basically told Kevin to go F himself. And he said, don't yell at me like that in front of people, blah, blah. It was a pretty ugly, nasty situation. So I got, Bill, you're going to go down there, because knowing that I'm so OCD about things and like everything's going to be fine, and I'll set up the waters and the chairs, and nobody will walk in front of that court or I will kill them, to the point it's pretty bad. So I started doing that, and it was easy, but also boring, because the match would go on and I just have to sit there, and I got to watch some cool squash, but I had nothing else to do. Make sure there were towels there, make sure there were waters there, Gatorade, make sure it was clean, make sure kids weren't running amok. We had a microphone and a thing down there. I said, why don't I start like announcing the players?
Yeah, great
And
idea.
On our own, we did it. And I was like, now coming on court, number 3 in the world, Nicky Mueller from Switzerland, and just kind of goofing, right? And so either way, that evolved where I started saying, hey, you know what? Why don't after these matches I go up and interview people after the matches like they do upstairs? So I started doing that.
And they brought a camera down, or
It was on a stream anyways, but my interviews were more for the audience, basically. And then one year, Gilly Lane, who was the U.S. Open MC, had a college roommate or frat brother or whatever the case may be. During the semifinals and finals, he had to go to their wedding. And they said, Bill, we're going to have you do the semis and the finals of the U.S. Open upstairs. And that's where it all started. So I did it. I didn't bomb. I didn't do great, but I didn't bomb. And Amr Khalifa, you're a pro.
Yeah.
Amr Khalifa saw me. He was working at Black Ball in Egypt. And like a month and a half later, I was walking through Yale's gymnasium, and Timmy Lasusa, to bring it back around to the Lasusas, said, hey, my friend Amr runs a club in Egypt called Black Ball. They're doing a PSA tournament in December. He wants you to MC. He saw you on the U.S. Open, so they're going to fly you to Egypt.
Amr took you to Egypt?
And I was like, what? And I said, you're full of it. He goes, no, let's FaceTime him right now. And we did. And he said, yeah, we're going to pay you. We're going to fly you out there. I loved what you did at the U.S. Open. And that's where it all started.
No way.
Amr Khalifa. Amr Khalifa gave me my first start on the PSA Tour.
Amr is awesome.
He's the best. He's the best. Yeah.
And he's now coaching U.S. world number 4 and world number 4, U.S. number 1.
Olivia Weaver.
Olivia.
She's gone from Rod Martin, probably the hardest, meanest, yelling his coach, to Amr Khalifa, who literally makes you calm looking at him.
Yeah, he is so chill.
So chill.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I just saw him down in Houston. I see Amr quite a bit now when I'm doing the MCA and the tour. Yeah, so Amr gave me my start in MCing.
I would never have.
Yeah, how about that?
I would never.
Post about it exclusive.
Whoa!
How about that?
So then you retired.
Yes.
You retired, but you didn't stop working, really. You're doing the podcast. Did you start the podcast on retirement or before you retired?
I did start it before I retired. So Conor O'Malley started Squash Radio some 10 odd years ago as a long form podcast where he was interviewing people from squash, like hour and a half long interviews. I was always interested in doing something like that, and Conor always said, you should come on with me and do it. You'd be really good at it. And he was struggling with it a bit. He said his listenership wasn't moving at all. He was kind of getting the same amount of downloads, and I said, well, you wanted to try something different. You want to have me on, and instead of it being long form interviews, we kind of talk about what's currently happening on the PSA Tour, and if you'll allow me, I might say some stuff that you might not want to say because you work for the PSA. And I said, I'll try, obviously, not to get you in trouble because it's your job, but something that's a little, maybe more provocative, maybe more what I think is funny, and maybe that will catch on. So Conor and I did that for a couple of years together until his job at the PSA kind of became a little bit too much for him to do both and get it out on time. And since I really didn't know how to produce it or anything like that, it was up to him after the recording to do the rest of it.
Yeah.
So he said, look, I can't do it anymore. You want to take all the IP, you want to take everything, Squash Radio is yours. You just start paying for the platforms and everything, and you can take Squash Radio to wherever you want it to go. So I had PJ on, Paul Johnson from Squash TV, had been our guest, and I called him up and said, hey, PJ, are you interested in becoming my co-host? Yeah. And he said, yes. So PJ and I started, and we've been doing it, PJ and I, just a little over a year now. And we've kind of taken it in a little different direction, a little more provocative, a little more fun. PJ is not beholden to anyone.
Right.
He's on a contract basis with Squash TV, so he doesn't really have to be too careful what he says. And now that I'm retired from US Squash, and I'm 62.
You don't care?
Not that I don't care, it just doesn't matter, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
such a non-entity, really. I mean, what difference would it make? Like, if I'm 100% not trying to be hurtful to anyone, but I do kind of want to say what's happening in the squash world and kind of be truthful about it, and kind of try to be funny while I'm doing it. And if that comes across good, but again, it doesn't matter, right? Like, it doesn't really matter what I say.
Give us an idea of something relatively current that is a little provocative that you've been talking about on your podcasts.
So when the CEO of US Squash moved on,
Yeah.
they obviously put out a press release saying he's leaving, blah, 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 like how they state things. And it just wasn't the truth. The reason he was leaving was not what they said. And I worked for US Squash for 18 years. I have a lot of friends at US Squash. I know what's really going on at US Squash. I know board members at US Squash. So I knew what happened. And I knew the reasons that he was leaving. And I said it on the podcast. And people were like, and it was kind of a turning point for the podcast because the downloads we got for that episode far exceeded anything we got. The impressions we ended up getting like 50,000 impressions on a podcast that is basically just a small squash podcast, which is incredible if you know anything about podcasting.
Yeah.
And the downloads we got were off the charts. And the calls from the lawyers from US Squash that I got right afterwards
We're
were
also
off the charts. So that kind of was the thing that opened some people's eyes.
Did you have to take down the episode?
I was asked to take down the episode. I did not. I said no. I did change the title of the episode. I think the name of the title of the episode was US Squash Let's Go of its CEO, and I changed it to US Squash CEO Leaves or something like that. Yeah.
It's journalism.
It would kind of be unfair of me not to say what I knew, I thought.
Yeah, I love these posts about it. We're going to continue to do it, but I've started doing this short form thing, which we called Quick Nicks. And where we just ask very short questions to people. I'm going to steal 2 of those questions, which I usually ask to pro squash players.
Right.
I'm going to ask them of you. You're stuck on a 14-hour flight. Who's your seatmate?
My wife. Sure.
Who's your seatmate if it has to be a pro squash player?
Only because he will probably see this, I'm going to say Mohammed El-Shorbagy, my best friend. Do you know Mohammed El-Shorbagy and I are best friends?
I have not met him. I did not know that you were best friends.
We are best friends, according to the internet. Yeah, go on the internet. Search Mohammed
I'm going to
El-Shorbagy's
ask you,
best friend.
are you best friends with
We're
him?
best friends, yeah. We got thrown, we're best friends.
And from England, the 9th ranked player in the world, he has won an amazing 52 PSA titles. He is the former world champion. He is a former world #1 player in the world. Please welcome Mohammed El-Shorbagy.
He's my oldest best friend.
So anyway, great.
Yeah?
Who would you not want to ref?
Probably Dimitri Steinman.
Wow.
'Cause
Tell me about that.
He subtly blocks. He's a subtle blocker, and my acumen of squash refereeing is not keen enough to understand his blocks.
I've seen your best friend say that everyone subtly blocks.
Everyone subtly blocks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
You probably subtly block.
Me never. I do it overtly.
Yes.
I'm 6'3",
Right.
and I don't move that well.
Right,
So
no.
I'm just blocking you.
You're just blocking, not subtle.
It's not subtle.
Yeah, there's a lot of reffing is so hard. And again, the people make such a huge deal out of it in squash, and I think every sport is the same. Like there's football games where you watch the NFL every Sunday. Big calls get made and a lot of money at stake, and that's the way it is. That's what sport is.
Yeah.
People in squash get really, really hung up on refereeing. Those referees do an awesome job. It's so subtle. All the stuff is so subtle.
Yeah.
I think they do an awesome job.
Well, Mohammed, I'm going to watch you play tonight for the National Squash League game, and I hope that we'll do a post about it with you.
You should do one with him. He'd be interested. He'd be the best squash TV person. He'd be the guy. So they have the English voices, Joey, PJ. They have some American voices with, Nicole Bunyan's Canadian, but she has kind of an American voice. They need an Egyptian voice because Egypt dominates the squash world, and I'm not sure he would do it, whether he'd want to do it or not, but he would be awesome.
Yeah.
He's so smart and just knows the game, and he's so well spoken. It's awesome. So,
Bill,
pleasure. Hope
thank
that
you.
worked out for you.
Let's try that again.
All right.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
That's a Tiger Woods handshake.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
That's great.
Peace. Solid sock game, both of us today.
Oh yes, look, I got the anchors
Look at that.
going. Look at that.
We're good.
Oh yeah, we're good.
All right.
We got a good solid second.
Excellent.